Hi everybody, I'm here with Annie. We got the good stuff.
And
I
am here with Betsy.
All right, so let's do a little toast. Cheers.
Cheers.
To our first online duet together.
Oh, I love the word first. I don't know what it implies.
Oh, you have to drink.
Now that is good.
Okay.
All right, now we are going to be talking about Betsy's latest chef d'oeuvre, which I am so proud of her, so in awe of her, and I cannot even contemplate the research that she put into this. It's mind-boggling. Anyway, we will get started, and I finished the book. I actually read it twice.
Ooh.
Because sometimes when you get to a certain age, your recall isn't as good as it should be. I loved it. I could read it a third time to get all of the facts into my brain, but by and large, I think it's a story of unbelievable perseverance, human courage, resilience, things that are so admirable. And one reads something like this and you wonder, how would I have done with that kind of stuff? How would I have done even after everything that happened to Gadi? How did you first meet the hero of your book, Gadi? Okay.
So I met Gadi through my volunteer work with Jewish National Fund USA. And that's a great question. No one's ever said to me, so at what point did you think like this man has this amazing story, this hero story, that I should put all this time and effort? And I will tell you that it didn't really take too long, because when I met him, I had already heard the backstory. I already knew that he had had his legs blown off in Operation Protective Edge, and he had gone on to achieve amazing things, even though he had other challenges leading up to that horrible, horrific event of 2014. And besides knowing the history, he also always had a smile and was the most positive, upbeat guy. And because of that, I kept saying to him, Gadi, your story is amazing. Your story should be a book. It could be a movie. So even though he didn't want me to write this book, he was very against it. He's a very humble guy. I kept saying, no, I'm nobody special. It's not that important. I'm not a hero. I finally had to twist his arm, and he finally relented and allowed me to tell his story.
And how long did that beginning time take before you'd actually started knowing that you were going to do this unbelievable undertaking? I mean, this was a project. This was not just taking notes on somebody's life and putting them into good prose. The detail, I was absolutely flabbergasted when I read it for the second time. Anyway, you talk and tell us, did you realize what this was going to entail?
I did not.
No, I would imagine.
When I began, I thought to myself, how hard can this be? I am not making this up. I'm not J.K. Rowling. I'm not Nora Roberts. I'm not creating the story. The story already exists. So how hard can this be? I've done book reports before in elementary school, a report on George Washington. I'm just going to research this guy and write the story. How hard can it be? And I was so wrong, because there were so many challenges to this whole thing. Besides my subject not speaking English very well, and besides him living an ocean away and multiple time zones away, during the time that I was trying to write this book, we also had that little pesky thing called COVID. And I myself had my own personal stresses in life. There's these lists that organizations put out, like the top stresses in your life, which include like moving or the death of a loved one or losing your job or whatever. I went through a lot of that. Sadly, after I took on this project, my brother passed away from brain cancer, and a few months later, my dad passed away. My husband and I also sold our marital home. We were in that house for 30 years, one of the hardest things I ever did. I closed my business, had to sell all that stuff and move. There were a lot of personal challenges in this 7-year effort to write this story. So it was a lot.
Also, 3 children.
Oh, yeah.
She forgot to mention that. I hope their feelings are not hurt. But that's, and being the kind of person she is, I can assure you that mothering in the Betsy way did not mean to taking things lightly or easily. Anyway, how many years were you at this? I mean, I've heard different, is it 7 years from
Yes.
beginning? I mean, that's mind-boggling. I can't even imagine staying on a project like this. What kept you with this? Did you want to give up at any stage? Did you want to throw in the towel?
You know, I never remember, honestly, ever saying, oh, I had enough, I'm giving up. Because, like, once I put my mind to it, even though it took way longer than I expected, I wasn't just going to throw it out. You know, I wasn't going to put it aside, because it is, to me, an incredible story, as Annie said, of resilience and heroism and post-traumatic optimism, and this man who did not allow the past to define his future. I just think it's such an important story. So even though it was challenging and way harder than I expected, especially towards the end when it got down to the nitty-gritty of following, you know, the Chicago Manual of Style and all the semicolons and colons and, you know, making sure all my citations were correct. I mean, it was a ton, but I came that far. I wasn't going to give it up. There was no way. I had to see it through.
As an editor, I have to tell you that I did read this book hoping to find some mistakes so I could sort of be on the up and up with her and say, Betsy, you know, the period is supposed to be here and not there, but couldn't find one. I'm going to look again. I think that was why I read it twice. I'm going to go back for a third time. You know, it's also, as a reader, sometimes a title just doesn't work. And that's what, when I first saw the book and heard the title, I didn't understand it. You have to read it to understand it. It's so amazing. And the reason that I've gotten as far as I have with the Betsy story and the Gadi story is, as neighbors, we talked and we found out that we had so much in common. Obviously not our ages, but... and she's not,
and we're both never frowsy.
We're never frowsy. And she's not actually quite respectful enough, but that doesn't matter.
Okay.
I would just like to preempt this dialogue a little bit by saying that if there are occasional giggles in between our talk, it might be because of this, but hopefully it will just enhance our narrative. All right, to be serious now, Bets, what were some of the biggest challenges that you faced when writing this book? I mean, did you have a plan of how it would go? Did you know who you were going to interview? Did you anticipate travel for this? I mean, what were all of the things that you maybe were taken aback by having to do? But
I get what you're asking. So I'll tell you that when I started, I really didn't have a direction because I never wrote a book before. So what do I know? I did go to Israel several times for this, and I interviewed the people in his inner circle, you know, his family members and people that he worked with. Some people were, after I spent time with them, I didn't use anything that they told me. They were not part of the book. Next time I do this, I will have a much better roadmap before I do it. And also, one of the things that tripped me up was as I was putting everything together and like a certain aspect of his life, my issue was that I found every aspect to be so fascinating. So I would spend hours and hours and hours and hours researching something because I thought it was so incredible. It came out in the end to be like a chapter, but I spent so much time because I found so many things to be so interesting. For example, this whole idea of Israelis being sent to these newly forming countries in Africa, I think, like, I spent hours on that. I just thought it was fascinating. I think that could be a whole mini series. Just people picking up and leaving their country to go help these people, you know, establish their states. I thought that was amazing. There was some German woman who did a lot of research about Israelis in Zambia, and I read her research studies, and my floor was filled with paperwork and all the stuff she did. I thought it was amazing. Did I spend way too much time on that? Absolutely, but I thought it was amazing. And also the research I did about Gadi's prosthetics, I remember his sister saying to me, why are you doing this? Like, who do you think is going to care about this? But I thought it was incredible and amazing. And so many people have also said to me, wow, I never knew about this whole process, how hard it was, how it's like a combination of art and science and medicine, and how Israel doesn't, at this point, really make their own prosthetics. People have to leave the country to go get fitted, go get the actual components. So even though his sister was like, why would you even write about this? So many people have told me that this is so interesting. So my research kind of took me where it took me, but the other problem was a lot of the facts and figures I got from different sources conflicted with one another. And that was really hard. If the website for the Israeli Defense Forces said something different than the Ministry of Defense, which said something different from some high-level group that studied the war, it was a lot. I would look at this stuff and say, okay, which one do I pick? Which fact do I pick? Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. It was hard. So in my note to the reader, I talk about what my sources were and how I tried to stick with one as the main one, just to keep me on track. That was challenging.
I can certainly understand that, because on the times that we met, usually at Betsy's house in the company of her dogs, and I would walk in and the table was like 12 term papers were being conducted at the same time. Sheaves of papers, research, little notes, every single thing that you needed as a background to this book. It was really intimidating. I mean, I didn't know what I was in for.
But I really aimed to be deeply sourced and very accurate. But there's a great expression, a Truman Capote expression, which is to be a nonfiction novel. That's what I was going for. I love that expression. Nonfiction, based on fact, but also reads like a novel, so reads like a really good story. That was my goal.
Was there a lesson in this writing? I mean, what did you learn from writing the book? Did you learn things about yourself? Obviously, you learned things about the art of writing, but what did it do to you, the writer?
That's a good question. What I learned, first of all, I learned that writing is a very solitary and sedentary business. So here we're in this lovely community, Hunters Run in Florida, and life is going on everywhere. There's golf games and beautiful meals and concerts, and literally I was at my desk mostly all the time, just focused on this project and not participating in life. It's very solitary for sure, and sedentary. I mean, you're sitting at a desk doing nothing but. So one should have a much better schedule of like getting up in the morning and exercising and moving a bit, which I didn't necessarily have. So it's a sedentary and solitary business, I learned. And I'll tell you something else I learned. Once it was all done, I thought, I'll get back to my life again. I'll get back to like having lunch and playing golf and doing, get back on my bike. And I did not know the expression that books do well 20% because of the good writing, but 80% because of the marketing. So now after finishing the book, no, I'm not back to my life. I'm literally working on the marketing all the time now. That's my next full-time job.
Is this what we're doing now?
This is what we're doing now.
Okay, everybody, just remember how important this is, okay? And this is where it's at.
To go and buy the book.
Please,
yes.
Please go. Well, you will be so thrilled when you do. I want to know, what do you think about your past and all the things that you did made you into the kind of author that you were? I mean, did you know you had it in you? You hadn't written before. I mean, yes, you'd done term papers, but you were a Zumba instructor. You were a social person out there. You were not this picture of this solitary person that she's just painted. I mean, what made you think that you were up to a task of this sort?
Who do you think you are? Who did you think
exactly.
you were?
Who did you think you were?
That's a good question. Having thought about this, I feel like I am a creative person, You know, I was
Yes, that's true.
a director and a choreographer, and I even cut my own hair sometimes when I need to. So I wasn't, what's the word? I wasn't insecure about being able to do it because, like I said, I didn't think it was going to be that hard. I really thought I can write. I'm creative. It's not going to be that hard.
But you made it hard. You made it hard because of the wealth of detail that you put into everything.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. You could have just concentrated on Gadi and his personality and his family and those kinds of things. Instead, we get history lessons, geography lessons. There's so much packed into this book. You can understand that it took years.
Yeah.
You read the book, you understand the passion that you called it your passion project.
It was a passion project, yes.
Yeah, that's what.
And I wanted it to be very accurate and very, high level, scholarly.
That's what it was. It was scholarly and also easy to read.
That was
And
the goal.
that combination is just wonderful. I want to say something about Betsy, being the kind of self-deprecating person she is and wanting to share the wealth. She said, Anne, I just want to say something about you. So I said, this is your thing. This is about you. What I am is an admirer, a sycophant, somebody in awe of her friend, and a good friend, and just extremely proud. Never, ever boasting, just genuine and excited about this, her passion project. Just one quick question before I end off. What's next, Betsy?
What's next for me or what's next for Gadi?
Well,
Let's do both. Can we do both?
Oh, absolutely, let's do both.
Because I'd love to just let everyone know what Gadi's up to now, being the...
Oh, I should have asked that.
It's okay,
Sorry.
being the kibbutznik farmer at heart that he is. Once he went through his whole cycle, which you will read about in the book, he has returned to his farming roots and did something amazing. He brought hydroponics to the Western Negev. He's home in Kibbutz Nirim on the border with Gaza. He invested his money in hydroponics, so he's growing lettuce, not in the ground, but through, hydroponics, through just water.
Ripples.
Yes. And his company is called, his last name is Yarkoni, so you say hydroponics in Hebrew, hydropony. So his company is Yarkoni Hydropony. So he's growing lettuce in this amazing way and hopes to turn that business over to his son. So nothing ever stops this guy. He is, on to the next venture. It's pretty amazing. And as far as me, what I'm doing, I'm working very hard to get this story out into the world. I hope that you will buy it and enjoy it. It's available on Amazon right now and barnesandnoble.com. I am planning on marketing it for the summer of 26 and then hopefully beginning my next writing venture.
Do we know what that's going to be? Can you give us a
Well,
clue?
I can give you a hint. People who know me have heard me speak about and write about my incredible, amazing friend Adele Raymer, who also lives in Kibbutz Nirim on the border with Gaza. She was such a positive force in my whole writing experience. She was a fact checker for me and a translator for me. My photographer, she took this picture for me. She was always there in an instant to help me whenever I needed her. But she's also, in addition to those things, she's also the bravest female that I know on this planet. She has an incredible story too, and I would love to be able to tell her story as well.
So when do we expect this, Betsy?
I don't know. I'm definitely not taking 7 years this time. And
not.
she speaks English, so that'll be much helpful. And now that I've gone through the process once, I think this will be a much shorter writing journey this time.
If you like this, and this is inspiring you to do what this is all about, which is to buy and enjoy and be inspired by this incredible book.
Okay, we're signing off. One last clink, Annie.
One last chug.
Cheers, everybody. Thanks to Annie, who was with me for a lot of this journey in my house working together. She's an incredible inspiration. I'm telling you, her vocabulary next to Brett Stevens is second to none. So cheers, Annie.
As you can see, the champagne is having its desired effect. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.